explosion. All right. I think it's live. I think we are live. So we're going to give it a minute here to kick in. So here's what we're going to do today. I'm back. Last week I was not here, so I didn't even listen to the episode to see what kind of crap you guys talked about me. I know that with Steve and Mike together and without me being there, probably Mike was going to get back at me. I can probably.
We might have made fun of you a little bit.
Guess that. Yeah. Just a little bit. But yeah, I was at a Yankee game. It was pretty good. We got beat, but it was fun. Spring training game. It was fun. We got beat, but it's all right. It was all right. It was a good time. But yeah, so what we're going to do here today is we're going to talk a little bit about last week, and we're also going to talk a little bit about.
Wait, I thought we were going to talk trash about Greg and Mike since they're not here.
Yes. Okay. That is on the agenda.
First things first.
All right.
First thing is first. That is going to happen. First off, we were going to talk about the earbuds that you have in that are pink that we kind of called you out on. But we were
they were on sale for like $2. You would have bought it too.
You can see that, right? Steve's got priorities. So here's what we're going to do, though, Steve. I'm going to turn it over to you. So I can go ahead and do some mechanics behind the scenes here so we can make sure that we publish this on the right pages. And then from there, I'll come back in and we'll get rocking and rolling. So
sounds good, man. So let's talk a little bit of trash, Liz. So Greg is not here today. So
let's not talk about Greg. He's my boss.
Exactly, which is why it's even more fun to talk about Greg.
It's not about somebody else.
So we actually only had 2 episodes this past week. It was Amanda Creations and Somo T.
Yep.
And so what were some of your thoughts on that, Liz? Did you get a chance to interview them on IG? I actually didn't get a chance to follow it this week.
So I had a great conversation with Amanda, and we chatted a lot about like the comments on her Facebook, not her Facebook, on the YouTube comments that she was getting from different people, and just kind of like it was interesting because she identified that it's interesting to hear people's feedback when they've seen 5 minutes of your business, and how there were things that people were bringing up where she was like, yes, but, or yes, and you don't know kind of what's going on with this other piece of it. So that was kind of fun to see. And interestingly, David Crable,
David Crable,
very
our favorite audience member,
very faithful commenter on YouTube, was commenting about how he didn't know that people would necessarily be searching for like a box of supplies or whatever. And I told her, I said, I agree with 99% of what David Crable posts. Like his comments are very well thought out. They're very constructive. I said, but that one thing I thought, that just means he's not part of your target market, because I 100% want a kit of things.
No, I totally agree. So I'm not in charge of parties very often, but there was one time that I was in charge of planning something, and I was freaking out. Like I went to Michael's, and that place is huge.
Oh my God.
I had no idea where to go. And so if everything was in a box, I totally would have just spent that money and saved myself a trip to like many different stores.
Absolutely.
So I guess David probably doesn't have kids, is what I'm guessing.
That might be. That might be it. Or
maybe
he has
never
a lot
shopped
of extra time. Yeah.
Maybe he never shopped for a birthday party. Maybe that's it.
Ah, yes.
You know
And I was totally just like the husband in that video. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah.
Like I'd be just like procrastinating, and then just freaking out like the day before. And then frantically, I'd probably contact you, Liz, for advice. Yeah.
You would be lost, because my creativity is not like, you would need to contact Amanda. I'm like, I will order it in a box and somebody else does it for me. I am totally her target market.
So it looks like Greg just joined us. Yeah.
Hey, Greg, what's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, guys?
See, aren't you glad we didn't talk
Better
about
late than never.
We were just getting ready to talk about you too.
Liz wanted to talk some trash about you, and I was like, Liz, he's your boss, man.
Listen,
so
it is recorded. He can watch the beginning of this video and know that you are lying.
That is true.
That little commercial that they put together for Amanda Creations was actually pretty good. Hopefully the
really
made it into the edit. I think it did.
It did, yeah. It was funny. It was good.
So cool. So we're going right now. We're streaming in a bunch of different places. So if you guys have any comments or questions about last week or even weeks to come, or any business questions or anything, just drop them in the comments, and then we can either answer them while we're here. We're going to be on here for a little bit, but we want to do these weekly to be able to kind of recap on the past week, talk about what we kind of took away from it, but also want to hear what you guys took away from it, and really kind of see how we can do a better job even moving forward and make this a better experience for you guys. So we're always open for suggestions. So let's start with like who was the first one this week? It was it Amanda?
No,
Friday. Oh, it was Amanda. Yeah.
Okay. So let's just talk about that business model for a second. Greg, why don't you talk a little bit about what you like about it? Because I know it's been a little while since we actually seen it, but I mean, again, she still is. She's selling like, I forget, Liz, was it like 70 grand a month in like invitations or something?
I think I think the numbers from the deliberation and the questions that we asked her came up with like $60,000 a month in her gross sales.
Yeah. And now she wants to bundle it up, put it in a box and have like a party kit. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that, Greg? Like I mean, I know it's been a little while, but.
No, I remember like it was yesterday. That was actually, I like the business a lot too. I mean, she's successful. She's a badass entrepreneur. So, she already had the business of selling these primarily cards, but I think other types of stationery as well on Amazon. Took a look at her Amazon store. She's doing well with them. She's gone with the kind of like a shotgun approach, like launch a whole bunch of cards. I think some of them do pretty well. Some of them probably don't sell very many, but she has like tons of different designs and a lot of them are pretty niche designs. And one of the great things about stationery like that is the margins can actually be pretty good with them because, like you go to CVS or Walmart or whatever else, you're paying like $5 or $6, maybe more for a card. Whereas it's very inexpensive to make, to actually print these, you're paying more just because of just essentially the shelf space that you're taking up. That's why they have to essentially charge like that amount of money. So, and then she was also selling them in multiple packs. So the cool thing is I think most people are willing to pay like 10, 15 bucks for say a pack of like 5 cards. Cause it's like, let's call it $2 a card, even though that it only probably costs $1 or $2 to actually like make that product. And the other cool thing about it was that since she was the designer, it was like pretty defensible. It's a little bit harder for people to kind of just like knock this off. They can't copy like her specific designs because she owns the copyrights and IP associated with them. So they would have to kind of like make their own. And I think she was getting pretty good at deciding which types of cards were more likely to sell better. But Steve, I'll let I'll shut up for a second here and let you describe kind of more of the business that she was pitching to us on the show.
Yeah, just full disclosure, she's actually a student in my class. And so I wasn't biased at all. And so you'll notice I kept a little bit more quiet during that pitch than some of you guys did. But what I really like about her also is how passionate she is. I mean, she was very emotional during the pitch, and you can tell that she really just cares deeply about what she does. And I think that really translates into her products and her designs and how she's able to sell so well. As you mentioned already, Greg, I really like the fact that she designs all of her own products. And so even if she were to get knocked off by someone, well, I mean, it's all in her head, right? And so she's always going to be one step ahead of everyone else. What do you think, Scott or Liz?
I just want to chime in and say the passion part of it. I mean, she was so passionate, even just explaining her business model. I mean, in tears, because she really does feel as though she's delivering an experience to a child. You know what I mean? And I love that side of it. I'm so glad that like she's successful. Her husband now I think is full-time as well in the business, which is always really cool. They're able to spend time with their kids and all that stuff. But I just think that like she hustled, like she made it happen. Like you would say, well, some people would go out there and just try to create a few cards and see if they would sell. And then they might not sell and they'd be like, this doesn't work and move on to the next. She was very persistent and very, like you said, passionate about it, that she was like, I'm just going to do this because I think that this is going to be something that people are going to want. And she's proved it that she's right. And now she's going to take it to the, party in a box. And I love that. I think convenience is always a thing that we will always pay for. Convenience, walking in, like you said, Steve, at Michael's and going like, oh my gosh, like I got to get those and I got to get that. But I could just buy a box with everything. All right. So yeah, I love that. What about you, Liz?
Well, I think the fun part about Amanda is that she knows her target market, right? Like she's talking to me and I've got boy, girl, boy, and she's got only boys, but she's listing off her top sellers and she's listing all of the things that are in my kids' rooms, right? She's got like her top sellers are the rainbow unicorn, slime, and like the Nerf gun laser tag, those 4. And I was like, have you been walking around my house? Like, yes, that's exactly what my kids are into. So it's really fascinating. that she has just kind of that where she knows that she knows that she knows her target market. And also as in way of proof of concept for selling these new party in a box, she's taking her top sellers. So she already has some proof that those are going to sell and packaging them into a box. So she has a good way to kind of prove what's going to be, or to predict what's going to be a successful box.
Let me say this too. You just brought up a great point. She's able to test things very quickly, right? And for a lot of us, you know, we have to go out there and purchase minimum orders and all that stuff to kind of see if it's going to fly, which I'm a fan of. But in the same breath, whenever you can do smaller quantities and test rapidly, I mean, that the sky's the limit on what you can do there. And she's really able to do that, just design new ones and then put them to the market and see what they respond with their wallets. So I really like that. I don't
know if this made it into the presentation, but I vaguely remember her starting out with merchant fulfilled to see which cards were selling well, and then stocking in FBA the ones that were
that's smart, actually. That's actually really smart.
So she's able to iterate extremely quickly across designs and see what works.
Yeah, and guys, if you're watching this and you haven't seen that episode, go watch that episode. I'm going to actually put up that little banner here. That is where you'll find all of these episodes over at 5minutepitch.com/TV. And that'll take you over to the YouTube channel. Do us a favor, share this if you think that people would find this valuable. It's our version of kind of like a Shark Tank. It's where we're able to have these businesses come in, but we're actually going to give them constructive criticism. I know they do on Shark Tank a little bit too, but we're actually looking at their businesses as what they can do to improve them, but then also the opportunities that they have, and really share that with everyone to really inspire you guys to go out there and either build your businesses bigger and grow them and scale them, or start something new and really have that vision and that drive. And a lot of times I watch Shark Tank just for the inspiration of just like seeing different ideas and saying like, wow, that actually is something that someone launched and people want that. I seen one, I think I mentioned this last time, selling wine for cats, but it wasn't alcoholic wine. It was like some type of juice or something. And it was like, so you can have wine with your cat. And the guy sold like 150 grand in like 3 months. It's insane. Right?
Cat products, that must be the best market.
It's insane. But anyway, go watch 5minutepitch.com/TV. Binge watch that. It's all over there for you. Netflix it. It's not on Netflix, but it will be.
Netflix.
But it will be.
Maybe someday.
One day.
You can't buy more Netflix.
So, all right, let's talk about the other contestant this week, which was about it was the tea brand, right? Okay, Liz, why don't you catch us up to speed on that? Take us to it's pre-revenue, okay, which I know on Shark Tank they hate hearing pre-revenue stuff, right?
Yep.
So let's walk through that one real quick.
Well, Steve and his wife had been at a tea shop, and they were listening to some younger girls try and figure out which tea they wanted, and he and his wife love tea, and it kind of sparked this idea of developing a tea brand that had an educational component to it. And my favorite part of his pitch is that his YouTube channel is called TV, TEA-V.
Yeah.
So I think that's very clever. And so he is good on camera. And when I was vetting applicants, that's one of the things that drew me to his business, is because he's very passionate. He's very charismatic. And so I think his TV portion of it will eventually be, a successful lead in for their product and for their tea boxes. But the other thing in watching the YouTube comments from people come in on his pitch was people are really intrigued by the sampler box that he was talking about, and being able to kind of subscribe to like a box subscription service with him, where he just sends them new blends that they're working on, and then they can later order them specifically. So I think he's got a fun model coming up, but that's, I think the pre-revenue is kind of where you guys got stuck with moving him forward or not.
It's a competitive market.
It is competitive.
I actually got a chance to try the tea. I mean, my wife's been consuming it. I just didn't realize she's been drinking it, and she really likes it actually. And the fact that we took home so many different types of teas in that sampler box, she now kind of has an idea of which teas that she really likes and which
ones does she like?
She likes the jasmine, a lot of the green teas, which the ones that you thought were pot, Scott, if you remember the video.
Yeah, in the video.
Okay, yes, those are the ones.
Now it's coming back together.
Yes, it is.
What I was going to say is, I think because this is such a competitive market, it's basically going to be a content and audience play. So like you said, Liz, his ability to sell is going to be largely in part to his ability to build an audience, whether that be YouTube or however he wants to do it. So it's still too early. It was too early for us to tell really whether it's going to be successful.
Yeah. If I was Steve, what I would do is I would start trying to like work on the YouTube channel. I think YouTube would be like a great channel for him. You start doing quite a few educational videos around drinking tea, different types of tea, how to properly steep tea, like whatever else. And then if I was him, I would start using in those like different types of essentially brand names that you're kind of creating for the tea, or like certain blends or whatever else. And then you get your exposure to your audience for these certain types of teas that you could only find kind of like at his place. And then ultimately you could probably drive sales through that. But you're right. I totally agree with you, Steve. This is kind of like an audience and content type play, I would guess, to make this business successful.
You know, one thing I remember now, it's all coming back together. I remember asking him whether he was going to have these teas serve some purpose. And I remember him saying he just wanted these teas to stand alone. But I know for a fact that like when my wife and I, we kind of go shopping for tea, sometimes like they'll market it as, oh, this tea will give you more energy, or this one will improve circulation. And we totally fall for that stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I want more energy. Who doesn't want more energy?
Of course.
So I vaguely remember him being resistant to that idea.
No. So would you think though that, I mean, it's kind of being already done probably with like testing, like, Gary Vee with wine testing, beer testing now is going to be a big thing. How else is he going to stand out? You know what I mean? I think that's the other thing. Like, how do you stand out in such a noisy market on social, unless you have either a personality or you have some other shtick? Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I agree. Getting on there and testing and being very knowledgeable about it is one thing, but I think entertainment value has something else to do with it. Do you think he has what it takes to be entertaining?
I'd say pretty much everyone has like a certain audience that like resonates well with them. You know what I mean? And like in a market that large, it seems like, I think just in general, people tend to gravitate to other individuals that are very similar to them. So, it'd probably be like a predominantly male audience, like roughly his age and whatever else. And they would probably just kind of like resonate with him as a person, as a result, probably drink the tea. That would be my guess. But again, we're going to now, it's like kind of strictly an audience and content play. If he was just trying to stick out, say through like a Google or even like on Amazon or whatever else, it'd be hard to do.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. I think if I could have any bit of advice for him, it would be 100% yourself. Like just be yourself. If you're funny, if you're goofy, if you're serious, if you're whatever, be you. And I think he even said that like he's usually the one that's kind of like giving the information about like, the tea and how to do it, and all this stuff. Be that person there, and people will get to know, like, and trust you because from what I can remember, he has a great personality. Like, and I think sitting down with him and having him educate you, and like you said, Steve, even having a play, I do believe that a play on saying like this tea, we've came up with this certain formula, has these certain teas in it that actually give you more energy, or that, whatever. I don't want to say lose weight because that's a little crazy, but you get what I'm saying? Like you want an angle there that you could have something that, whether it's like you said, energy, or if at nighttime allows you to sleep better. I know there's some of those that are in there, but some of that behind it, I think, does lend itself to learning more about it, for those reasons.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the main value prop, but it's always like a kind of like a little value add when they add a little something to it.
Absolutely. All right. So that is that. Again, guys, I'm going to give you guys another little call to action here. Go on over and check out everything over on 5minutepitch.com/TV. Like I said, everything is uploaded there right now. Next week, we've got 3 more episodes, right? Coming out.
Yep.
3 more episodes coming out next week. Can you give any teaser, Liz, of what's coming? Can we do anything? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but we got to have a little bit of a teaser or a cliffhanger or something.
Yeah, right? I got you.
Oh, you do? Oh,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Look at this.
So tomorrow goes live one of our favorites, Jennifer with Genius Cycle, and the ability to solve world peace by solving PMS, which is I just had the opportunity to rewatch the episode before posting it and getting everything up, and it's so good. Because, and I remember you guys, I had forgotten how much you guys liked her business until I rewatched it. So it's a really fun episode. And then followed very quickly by our 4:20 p.m. accidental appointment when we talked to him, but he grows scrognets. Christian Gravel is going to be joining us on Monday. And
possibly the most entertaining episode of the season.
Yeah.
Actually, both of those are pretty entertaining. I would say they're equal.
Next week's a good week on 5 minutes.
We literally go behind the scenes in this guy's backyard, by the way.
Yeah.
It is legit. It is legit.
Speaking of personality-driven brands, I mean, Christian has that dynamic, right? Like if he wanted to build out that type of a list or anything, he could. He is very dynamic. So those are the next 2, Friday and Monday. And then I'm 95% sure that the one after that is Gritmaster Army with
Grit Army. Yep.
Grit Army. There we go.
Mika.
Yeah, that's another good one. We got a few people leaving some comments. We got from QNZ2 King. That's the name here on YouTube. What's up, guys? I have a question. What's the question? That's great. What's the question? Give us a question. We'll try to answer.
Is there any way for us to see all the Facebook stuff's going on, or is it only on your master screen?
I think it's only on the master screen. You're asking for a lot. You are. You know, the guy that texted me last week because I couldn't become. You know what? We got to give a shout out to Jackness. He's going to get upset. We haven't even mentioned that guy once.
Oh, yes.
It's not true. We were going to talk crap about him at the beginning.
Jackness is going to get his feelings hurt if we don't mention him on this episode. Mike, we miss you, brother. We miss you. We don't want to upset Mike. Okay. So if you have a question, guys, leave it in the comments. If we can answer it here live, we will. If not, we'll answer it later. Greetings from Poland, from Mystery D'Angelo. What's up?
Nice.
Success Sourcing. Oh my God. Can't believe I'm watching or catching you all live. That's awesome. And looks like he's in Austin. So he's in your neck of the woods there, Greg.
Swing by Jungle Scout HQ and say hi.
Cool. Okay, here we are. We do have a question. Do we have time for a question, guys? We do, right?
We got time.
Okay. How do you protect your private label product when sourcing from China? How do you protect your product from being counterfeit by your manufacturer? It's 2 questions.
This isn't a 5-minute pitch question, but we can answer it anyway.
Let's just answer it anyway.
I just don't like the racism here. Why is it a Chinese vendor?
Oh, no. Okay, Greg, I'm gonna hand this one off to you. Not the whole thing. I'll just hand the first part off to you. And again, guys, this is for a 5-minute pitch, but we will answer this completely because we want to help you guys. How do you protect your private label product when sourcing from China? You got any ideas there, Greg?
Yeah, good question. Regardless of where you source from, and when there's
you don't have to be PC, Greg. I was just joking.
Really though, regardless of where you're buying your products from, if it's not patented, there's no real way as far as from an intellectual property standpoint to protect your idea, right?
Nope.
Like you're probably at the end of the day kind of ripping this idea off from someone else that's just selling it well, right? You have to kind of keep that in mind, and the way that you differentiate it is through other things like creating a really good listing, and maybe you're about building a brand around it, or pricing it competitively, or maybe like making some small improvements to it. So I think those are the ways you need to be thinking about like defensibility for your product and your business, and probably not be thinking about so much from like a intellectual property standpoint.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. And I'm going to add that, again, going back to something that I've been harping on a lot lately is like, if you build up the brand around your business, your product will be your product and people will buy because of the brand and the quality that you represent. My father actually just shared a story with me. We've got those torches around our pool. They're solar, but they look real. They really look awesome. At first, I said to my wife, I go, I don't want those things. They're going to look cheesy. And she's like, no, they're going to look good. So we got them and they were like $25 a piece. And I'm like, no problem. So my father was looking for him, and he's a cheapskate sometimes. So he's kind of like Steve. So he, so he,
right here, man.
So he was looking, and he was like, I bought these ones from this one brand. They were more expensive, and I went back and I bought them again just because they were more expensive, and I had bought them from that brand before. So just because you have a product and you're going to price it cheaper doesn't necessarily mean that people are just going to buy that if you've created a quality in the product and the brand. So I would just go back to what Greg said. Make sure it's quality. Make sure that it's the best product it can be. If there's problems with it, fix them, make yours better. And then just make it, the reason why people are buying is because you have quality in your brand. And I would say create that brand outside of just that one platform.
Now, in terms of your manufacturers actually knocking off your product and selling it to other people.
This one's for Steve.
This is a conversation that I always like to bring up, saying, hey, we're going to go with you guys, but I want this design to be exclusive. I don't want you to sell it to anyone else. And even though they technically could, it's all about the relationship. If you guys establish some sort of rapport and some trust, and you're placing orders with them consistently, they will not do that because they won't want to sacrifice the relationship. But it's worth bringing up because unless it's out on the table, they may assume that it's okay for them to sell that product to other people.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up. It's a she. She said she's not upset with us because I said he. I think. How do you build a brand when you're in the bridal and baby shower industry? When repeat buyers can be challenging. Thanks. And by the way, I'm a woman. LOL. Not upset. Just funny. You're in the wedding industry, Steve. So
yes. So one really good way to get repeat business is to target event planners and wedding planners. Otherwise, you're right. The wedding people, well, the divorce rate is quite high, but you can't depend on that. So you're right. Chances are a lot of your sales are going to be one-off, and you're constantly getting new customers unless you target the B2B folks.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I knew you would be the great one for that question because you're in that space. So he didn't say it. She said thank you. Yeah, all right. So that's going to pretty much wrap it up unless you guys got anything else. I did want to remind you guys again, 5minutepitch.com/TV. Go there, support the channel, support the show just by watching it and sharing it. That's all we're asking you guys to do. All right. Because we're putting a lot of time and effort into this, and we've already recorded it, which was about 4 days long, and then the editing and everything else. So there's been a lot of work that went into it. We did this because we want to go out there and we want to help the community, and we want to help some entrepreneurs out there. And really, it's just been a lot of fun and a fun project. So anything else you guys want to say before we wrap up this episode?
Hit that like and subscribe button.
Yeah, smash it.
Actually, one other thing I want to add. So if you actually go on the 5minutepitch.com website, and if you sign up to our list, there should be a pop-up. We did record a bunch of behind-the-scenes videos where Scott is acting really silly. Greg is acting really silly. I'm acting normal.
I don't even know what one that is. I'm kind of afraid to know now what that one was. Did I know you were recording that?
What are you talking about? You were making fun of me the entire time. Remember when I had all those extra in the camera? Yeah, you seem to forget. But yeah, it's like a little behind the scenes. We're a little bit more loose because we're the camera's not necessarily on for the 5-minute pitch. So if you sign up there, we'll go ahead and send those out to you.
Cool. Yeah, a little behind the scenes. What's that called again? That's the
BTS.
Yes, that's it. That little camera. All right. Well, Liz, I want to thank you again for an awesome week and just really all of the work that you do. We got to give Liz a lot of credit because she has really done an amazing job. Does a ton of stuff behind the scenes, and just want to thank you for that. And
and the Lord also.
Yes, and the Lord. That's right. Her husband, who's actually the editor and all that. So yes, just amazing team behind us. So that's really awesome. So all right, that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. But guys, come back here next week. We're going to come back on Thursday again, same time, and we will be publishing new episodes coming up on Monday. Right? Isn't that Monday? Is when it's going to happen?
Monday.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Friday, tomorrow, new episode tomorrow. Go get it. And also go to 5minutepitch.com and get that behind the scenes footage that Steve just mentioned. All right, guys, that's it. I'll see you guys around.
All right,
bye.
Ciao.